everybody. Welcome to the Integrity Restored podcast. I'm your host, Jim O'Day, and today we're diving into a topic that sounds like science fiction, but unfortunately is very much real life. What happens when artificial intelligence becomes emotionally convincing, emotionally enjoyable, and more importantly, what's going to happen to us when people start forming relationships with it? Recently, I read an article. Pope Leo XIV issued a strong warning about AI chatbot relationships, especially what he called excessively affectionate artificial companions. This article and his statement touched on psychology, society, loneliness, technology, and what it means to be a human in this digital age that we live in. His message just wasn't about religion. It was about humanity. So I wanted to dive into this a little bit more and ask ourselves, why is the Pope concerned about AI relationships? What are the real psychological effects of this AI companionship? What's the role of the social media algorithms in shaping our connection? And the bigger question, can AI replace human relationships? Pope Leo delivered this warning during the Catholic Church's World Day of Social Communications. It's a day focused on how modern communication shapes humanity. And the Pope's central concern? Well, that technology is making it harder and harder to tell, to discern whether we're interacting with real people or a machine. You see, that's just not speculation anymore. We've talked about it here in Integrity Restored. We've been talking about it for a while. But AI chatbots today can simulate empathy, affection, and emotional connection with surprising realism. And you couple that with the fact that you can create that chatbot to look perfect to you. Whatever your desire looks like, that chatbot can look like. They can hold conversations. They will remember personal details, and they respond to you instantly, anytime, anywhere. The Pope warned us that these chatbots, while entertaining, can also be very deceptive. He emphasized something deeply symbolic when he said, "Faces and voices are sacred." Ladies and gentlemen, faces and voices are sacred. Real human interaction, seeing someone's expression, hearing their tone, feeling that emotional nuance forms the foundation of human relationships. But AI completely removes that authenticity. It replaces unpredictable, sometimes messy human interaction with something that is carefully programmed and often designed to keep users emotionally engaged. The Pope's message is very clear. If people turn towards artificial companions instead of real relationships, society will face serious consequences. Let's be honest. The rise of AI companionship didn't happen randomly. It taps into some very real human needs. And these companies know that. So they build these chatbots to offer that constant availability, the emotional validation, zero judgments, and very personalized responses over time with unlimited patience. So you can imagine that this combination will feel incredibly comforting. It's going to feel exciting, and especially for people who are lonely or anxious, struggling emotionally, this type of relationship is going to be what they feel like they've always looked for. Imagine having someone, or in this case, something that always listens to you, never disagrees, and never leaves. Well, that's powerful. But it also, and Pope Leo warns us, it also is exactly where the danger lies. These chatbots can become hidden architects of our emotional state, our ups and downs. And when the Pope uses that quote, hidden architects of our emotional states, that's a striking phrase, ladies and gentlemen, because what he is suggesting is that this AI will begin to shape how we feel, how we think, and even potentially how we define our relationships. Unlike humans, AI companions are often designed, almost always designed, to keep you engaged. Their goal is never about emotional growth. It's about user retention. It's about keeping you online longer. That's why they're built the way they are built. And this raises a massive ethical question. If a relationship is designed to keep you attached, is it truly a relationship? Psychologists and researchers are increasingly concerned and studying how AI relationships affect mental health. Some early findings suggest that AI companions, these AI chatbots, can temporarily, in some people, reduce loneliness. And that sounds positive. And maybe in some cases, it is. But the bigger issue and the growing concern is about the long-term effects. As we all know, real relationships are sometimes messy. Real relationships are difficult. And they involve compromise and conflict and growth and very, very often emotional unpredictability. Those challenges help us grow those relationships. They help us grow in our resilience and our social skills. But these electronic AI relationships remove most, if not all, of those elements. When, as human beings, our interactions are always comfortable, always self-affirming, and always completely narcissistic, centered around the user, people will likely begin losing tolerance for the real complexities of dealing with another human. And the Pope warns us that replacing human relationships with AI could lead to painful consequences, not just individually, but socially, culturally. He described in this article a future where AI systems catalog our thoughts and then reflect them back to us, creating what he calls a world of mirrors. We are already seeing the echo chamber we can live in with social media, where the algorithm continues to send us the things it knows we would like in order to keep us engaged. Think about that. Instead of relationships exposing us to new ideas, they might just reinforce what we already believe or feel. They might just continue to feed us with what we think is right without any outside perspective. Not easy to grow. That kind of constant self-affirmation could reshape identity, could reshape our empathy, and on a broader scale, our social cohesion. When the Pope wrote this article, he just didn't focus on the danger of these chatbots. He also criticized the companies, the social media platforms, and their algorithms. He argues that these systems reward quick emotional reactions. They're designed to key in on things like outrage, excitement, or fear, while completely discouraging slower, more thoughtful, more insightful communication. That criticism absolutely aligns with existing research showing us how social media amplifies polarization. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have to tell you, we are living in it right now. We're seeing it. These algorithms tend to promote content. They promote the content that keeps us scrolling, the content that keeps us reacting, not necessarily content that encourages reflection or learning or understanding. According to Pope Leo, this creates a cycle. Faster and faster emotional responses, less critical thinking, less listening, and more division. When combined with the AI chatbots, AI companionship, this could deepen social isolation rather than solve it. If people increasingly interact with algorithms that mirror their views and emotions, society risks losing shared understanding and dialogue. I think the most important thing to note is that Pope Leo didn't call for us abandoning technology. That cat is out of the bag. That horse has left the barn. Instead, he said, innovation must be guided responsibly. He describes AI as having an ambivalent nature by its design, meaning it can be helpful or harmful depending on how it's used. This viewpoint of his continues a conversation started by his predecessor, Pope Francis, who also warns us about simulation technologies which distort reality and relationships. Francis called for even stronger regulation of AI to prevent discrimination, social injustice, and emotional harm. And this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, isn't limited to religion. Tech ethicists, sociologists, and policymakers worldwide are asking similar questions. Should AI simulate emotional relationships at all? Should there be transparency about how AI influences users emotionally? And how do we balance innovation with protecting human connection? These are questions that we are only beginning to confront. And for most people, the takeaway isn't to avoid technology entirely. It's about being aware of what that technology is doing. AI can be helpful. Educational tools, mental health assistance, productivity enhancement, these are all real benefits. But the Pope's message encourages us to stay grounded in real human connection. Relationships with real people always involve vulnerability, patience, disagreement, and unpredictability. And those challenges are what makes them really meaningful. As artificial intelligence becomes more integrated into our daily lives, even when we don't know it, society faces a fundamental question. Do we want technology to enhance human connection or to replace it? Pope Leo's warning isn't just about our faith or even morality. It's about preserving something deeply human. The authenticity of relationships built through real voices, real faces, and real emotional experiences. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you found this discussion interesting, thought-provoking, or even a little unsettling, please share it with someone and keep the conversation going. Until next time, may God bless your journey.